My story is a story that begins in Cuba. It begins in 1961. Um, the government had turned to become a revolutionary government, and the idea of communism was coming into the country. So at that time then, my parents and thousands of parents decided that freedom was needed for their children in their education. And they were willing to sacrifice their children, in the sense, the presence of their children, to sacrifice being close to in our growing up, and send 14,000 children out of Cuba between 1961 and 1963. And I'm one of those children. I wasn't so much of a child, I was an adolescent. As an adolescent, I was a little older. I was 16 years old. And the church, Mother Church, takes care of us. And Mother Church tried to find us places, homes, where we could be during our stay in the United States, always awaiting for a return to back home to Cuba. And so I was sent to Holy Family Home in Marquette, Michigan, with the director there was Monsignor Wilbur Gibbs, and the Sister of St. Agnes was the one that took care of the orphans. So there is a close connection with the Sisters of St. Agnes. A very happy memory, Sister Agnes Rita, who died here a couple years ago. She was a lovely woman who took care of us. So in there, the question of my vocation arose, the question of priesthood. And Monsignor Gibbs and the sisters said, have you ever thought of becoming a priest? I said, no. You know, I had not even been an altar server. They said, Monsignor Gibbs said, well, why don't you try it? And then if you don't like it, you can come home. So sisters took me to Montgomery Ward and bought me a suitcase. I still remember an orange suitcase with the necessities for my coming to the seminary. And I said, where am I going? Well, you're going to St. Lawrence Seminary, the Hill of Happiness. I had no clue where I was going. They put me in a car, and here I arrived. And truly was the Hill of Happiness. I had left home, so I had no family here. St. Lawrence for the next 3 years was my family, my home, and Marquette, of course, with the Sisters of St. Agnes and Monsignor Gibbs. So I came not knowing much English. I had taken some courses in grammar school, etc., but I knew no. So I came with very little English, and so I went into special year. This is a time when the seminary was 6 years and 6 years. So I went into the college prep, which they call special. And then I did freshman and sophomore year. I believe that at the time I was the only Hispanic here in the seminary. And I was so, many of the friars spoke Spanish, but the one that I remember most was Father Felician, who had been in Bluefields in Nicaragua. And then I used to speak to him. And of course, some of them, my teachers are here now for the 150th celebration. Father Werner, who was the Dean of Students, and Father Ron was a history teacher, etc., and some others that I've seen. So as I come back to St. Lawrence, after 45 years, I haven't been here in 45 years. I see the new buildings, and I see the growth of it, but all the memories that I think they were not just nostalgia. Of course, there is nostalgia of the past, of my adolescence and my own, but really, I started to think about my own faith and my own journey of faith that began here, that began in at the Hill. and not so much of what I learned by way of, eventually I learned English and etc., but by the example that I received from the Capuchin priest and the Franciscan spirituality. And that's, I think that's the imprint that has been left in me. I was never moved to a vocation in religious life. So I lived with the Capuchins, but I was never moved to be a religious Capuchin. But you carry it with you, and you are the formation that you receive is what shapes you throughout the years. I was with other religious communities too after I left the Hill of Happiness. I went with the Oblates of St. Francis de Sales who for the Theologate, and they were wonderful men too. So all of them, you know, fashion your faith, your belief, and my vocation. So I am very grateful to the Franciscan Capuchin and to SLS, the Hill of Happiness. There were two things that were said that they call St. Lawrence seminaries. One was the seminary, the poor boys seminary. Well, I definitely was the poor boy seminary. I had nothing. I had nothing. The suitcase that the Sisters of St. Agnes gave me, and but in the poor boys seminary, and found a home and a place where I could mature and develop and reflect on my own future. And here I am, a priest of God. It's the people behind what makes a place. The need is there. You know, there are young men all over that need a direction, a focus, that need values, that need a spirituality. The need is there. The Franciscans and the Capuchins have tapped that Franciscan spirit, and they offer that here at the Hill of Calvary. If they have to keep on doing it. If they don't do it, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to do it? You know, by their fruits you shall know them. You know, the alumni that has produced Mount Calvary and the seminary is what gives proofs of why this place should continue. That's all there is to it, you know. Our Lord said, if the tree doesn't give fruit, cut it and throw it. But if it gives fruit, you know, then we have to take care of that. And this seminary has given fruit. The many men that have taken leadership and responsibility with the values of our Catholic faith in professions all throughout the United States, and the many priests and religious and dare I say bishops, Bishop Perry, myself. I mean, that's a proof of why should a seminary continue to be, and why we should help it and promote it and pray and in any way support it. It's our church, it's the future of the church, and there is a need, and it's being fulfilled. And I wish many other St. Lawrence seminaries will be open throughout the country. We need them. We need them. We need to give direction. We need to give focus to our young men, which are living in a culture that it's all materialism, a culture that is secular, a culture that is all relativism, a culture that denies sacrifice, and that see only enriches success, never in the service to those who need.